Did your first YouTube automation channel flop? Good. That means that you've actually been trying something. Because here's the ugly truth. Your first YouTube automation channel will likely fail. And I've seen this over 100 times with many customers and myself. Most channels that you test and try will fail, especially the ones that you try the very first time. But this failure is exactly what you need to actually make YouTube automation work. Because the one truth is most people don't even start and try their first channel. But in this video, I'm going to explain to you the mindset shift you need to make, turning or going from feeling let down and unmotivated after your first failed channel to actually using this as an advantage and a way to win. Because the first thing most people do after failing their first channel is thinking about giving up. But because you're gonna fight through this and be consistent, you are the one that's gonna push through and leave the other losers behind. So in this video, I'm gonna give you the 3 reasons or mindset shifts that you need to make and things you have to avoid to actually make YouTube automation work. And I've made this video and those 3 pain points based on a call I did with one of my one-on-one clients this very morning, where he's been trying to run this channel for like 3-4 months now. And it's not really getting off the ground. He posted like 70 videos and he lost motivation and thinks this is not working for him. So I walked through these 3 main issues that he's doing wrong and how to fix them. So I'm gonna give you these tips right now. And I can promise you that these are 3 things that most beginners struggle with. So pain point number 1 that this client was doing wrong or is doing wrong and has to change right now is getting too emotionally attached to your first channel. So my advice always is when starting niche research or like testing your niche is to find a niche, find a format, write out like 15-20 titles you can do for that specific market and see how your views perform after like those first 15 or 20 videos. Now what happens a lot is people get way too attached to their first, especially their first channel, because people really see it as like their baby that they like spend so much time and money and effort on. But the problem and the dangerous thing about this is that people like this client, he uploaded 70 videos and not a single video got over like 200-300 views. Even after testing multiple angles, multiple formats, switching up the thumbnail and everything, he just couldn't let go of this channel. Even though I told him many times, listen, test 15-20 videos in this format. If that doesn't work, maybe try 1 or 2 new formats with 5 to 10 videos. But if it doesn't work, just cut your losses and move on to a new niche, because it can go very different. This particular case, he had like 70 videos up, only 100 subscribers. Now, as an example, last week, I got 2 new channels monetized. One of them only had 5 videos up and got monetized in 30 days. It's now sitting at $50 a day. The other one needed like 6 weeks and like 20 or 25 videos to get monetized. So stop thinking or following this like old school advice where people say, no, just keep on posting, give the algorithm time, your channel will all of a sudden blow up. Because this is really dangerous and bad advice when it comes to YouTube automation. Usually within 15 to 20 videos, you can easily see if your channel has potential, if your channel is getting momentum, and if it's moving at least in the right direction. As in, you can see that your view graph is slowly climbing up. Every video that you post gets a higher level of base views, for example, and your older videos keep getting views. There is some like clear signs that you can follow to see if a channel makes sense to continue with. So biggest takeaway here is don't just endlessly keep posting videos. Stick to one strategy where you test one niche and one format with a certain amount of videos. And if it doesn't perform, just cut your losses and start testing a new niche. Now, I told this client, of course, these videos that you made are not going to waste, but make 2 fresh new channels and upload like one of the formats to one and the other format to the other to see if maybe it's about your channel algorithm and you just got unlucky, you know? So yeah, if you cut off your channel, at least try to make 1 or 2 new channels and repost those videos. This channel only had 100 subs, wasn't even monetized, so you can easily repost those videos, and who knows, maybe you do get into the algorithm with that. But yeah, to overcome this problem, like don't get too emotionally attached. Make one strategy and system of like how you're gonna test your channels, and if it doesn't show any good momentum after like 5, 10, 15 videos, cut your losses, and move on to the next niche. Now that was pain point number 1. And number 2 is actually even worse, because that is what happens even before getting like emotionally attached to your niche and your market. And that is just picking a bad niche market with like not enough backed data and just being too late to the game, so to say. So what happened in this client's case is that he got into a market mainly with AI videos that was, at the time he was starting, it was like a pretty up and coming market, but now 3, 4, 5 months later, it's just a market that is way too saturated, especially with the amount of mass-produced AI content people can make nowadays. A lot of people who are beginners to YouTube automation maybe can make like 1 video every 1 or 2 days. So like 15 videos a month. But there's a lot of big players with these easy to make AI channels that post like 4 or 5 videos that are each 20 or 30 minutes. And they just take over the markets. Now, this particular client was in one of those markets where there's hundreds of channels making like almost the exact same videos, but they do it like 4 times the volume, and probably the video is even better too because they have a full team taking care of everything. So, of course, this is a bit like of timing the market involved, which can be very hard. But this goes hand in hand with just staying too emotionally attached in a market and not knowing when to quit when the data is showing that it's not going to work. So what I told him in terms of finding a market, there's a fine balance you need to find between being in a market that is too new and not tested and too saturated and gets too many views. But as a rule of thumb, you can try to find channels or niches that are between 3 to 6 months old that got monetized and that get over like 300 or 400,000 views every single month. This way you probably make well over 1.5 to 2K, and it's worth it to like fully outsource it to a team with 15, 20 videos a month and still make a good profit from it. So you want a good niche research method in place that verifies niches before you even get into it. But you also have to be understanding of how many competitors there are in the market and which state of the market you are entering the channel with, so that you are not in a market that you have to like prove as a first enterer. I wouldn't recommend doing this if it's like your first channel, but you also don't want to start in a market where everyone on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter is like already talking about that market and it's sort of like a known good market and there's too many big players in this market, because that way you just don't really give yourself a chance of entering the market when there's like 20 competitors posting the exact same video and you have no way to differentiate your quality because it's all like AI slop channels with like AI moving background images, just some captions in the front, and the same AI generated script message basically, right? Now, real quick, for every beginner, I would recommend to start in an easy to make like quick niche like this. You're probably not gonna find your viral hit the first time anyway. And this is what I recommended that client too, but he sort of like drifted on a little too much and got too emotionally attached. I do recommend starting in an easy to make video market, because then you can understand how it is to run a channel, how it is to like hire freelancers, make your first 10, 15 videos, see how it performs, and then move on. So most beginners don't really know what to look anyway, and the first channel isn't gonna win anyway. So just get your first channel out there to understand like how it works to like upload videos, make your scripts, make your voiceovers, make your editing, and see how everything goes. And from there on, you can move on to like more serious channels. But don't get, like I said in number 1, emotionally too stuck to the channel that you're starting with doing it like this. Now, these 2 pain points were more so about his channel itself, but the third one is actually the most important one. And that was like a mental roadblock that my client is now facing, because he spent like 4, 5, 6 months doing this. He doesn't make really any money from it. He doesn't see any progress. And he's like feeling discouraged. He's feeling mental fatigue. And he's kind of like feeling burnt out, and he wants to quit now that his first channel failed and he spent all this money and time on it. And honestly, this is where most people give up. And that's what I told him too. They get into like a side hustle or like a business, and they try it for a few months and it doesn't work out. And then they're like, listen, this doesn't work. It's costing me this time. It's costing me this money. I'm probably going to give up because I couldn't figure it out. And I tried to make him realize how unrealistic it is to feel like you should have achieved or like made money from your first attempt in a way. Because yes, it took him some time to like set this up and try this, and it took him some time and like energy and money to get these videos made. But if anyone's starting, like think about this, if anyone's starting an online business, a side hustle, or in particular here YouTube automation, would make that first channel work and get it to like 2, 3, or even 5K a month, wouldn't everyone be doing this? And what I want you to understand with this like mindset thing where he got so discouraged, the point where everyone wants to give up, that's the point where you have to not step on the brakes and keep on going. Because it's sort of like he went through this initial learning curve to how YouTube automation works. He understands all the concepts of it, how to manage a team, how to find a niche, how to make the videos. Now he just has to rinse and repeat the niche research and test markets. Because everyone is going to stop where they failed their first channel. But now the game actually only begins once you figured like out the basics. Now you really have to like start putting in the reps. And of course, everyone wants to make money. And of course, you are probably yourself scrolling TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, and you see everyone posting like, hey, I'm making 3K a month, I'm making 5K a month, my channel is blowing up. But always remember that the success stuff that people post online, especially coaches, it's always the outliers. So maybe someone has like 100 clients, maybe someone has like 1,000 clients in their community. There's like a few people who are like, hey, my first month I got like to this amount of money. My channel got monetized this quickly. Do understand that this is something new you are trying, and all these other people are trying this new thing too. And sure, some people are going to be lucky and find that viral niche immediately. But if I'm honest with you, and I've noticed from personal experience for the past 2 years working with over hundreds of people trying this, most people only find success after 2, 3, or 4 channels that they tested. So don't feel discouraged when your first channel that you're trying is not working out, because most people need 3, 4, 5 channels. I myself test multiple channels a month. Most of them still fail. Always realize that only like, if you think about the 80-20 rule, 20% or like 80% of what you're doing is not going to work. The 20% is going to amount to 80% of the earnings that you will be getting. So just keep in mind that quitting is the easiest thing you can do after your first failure. But just see it as a learning experience where you invested money, time, and energy into understanding the basics. And now the learning curve is going to like from flatlining to like exponential growth if you keep on working on it. But if you give up after your first failure and you move to another site or other online model, you just have to go through that learning curve again. So yeah, try to keep in mind that you have to go through the baby steps and through the learning experience and curve before you start seeing good results. And just try to keep in mind that after 2, 3, 4, 5 channels, it will probably come. But this is also why you need a proper testing strategy, like I explained in step 1 and 2, where you don't stick to one channel for like 6 months, because then it's going to be even more difficult to quit your first or second channel if you have spent so much time on it and it's still not doing anything, right? So these are the 3 main pain points that I see beginners have, and also how to overcome them. And yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is just accept that you are new into this game and don't have the highest expectations in terms of earning potential from what you see on social media. Most people, first of all, fail with this, and all the other people who do succeed, they also tested multiple channels. So don't get discouraged after your first channel failed. Don't stick to like one market for too long, and do proper niche research when you're starting your YouTube automation business. So yeah, stop asking yourself why YouTube automation isn't working. Ask yourself which inputs and for how long and how many channels have you given to give this a fair chance, basically. Now, if you have any other questions or mental roadblocks that you're facing starting your online side hustle, or maybe with YouTube automation, make sure to drop them in the comments. I will answer all your questions. And lastly, if you like these videos and you need that accountability and that sort of like structured testing strategy, make sure to join my premium school community, the Faceless Tuber School. I go live in here. I have testing strategies. I give you niche sheets that you can start testing niches with. And you will have a supportive community of other like-minded people who are also trying to make this work next to their 9-to-5 job. You can join that by the link in the description. It's 40% off. If you get on the yearly plan, you get 3 free one-on-one coaching calls with me, where we make a fully custom game plan. Now, lastly, if you need one step-by-step guide on how to actually start YouTube automation, you can click this video right here. I walk through 7 steps from A to Z how to start a profitable YouTube automation channel. Okay, I'll see you in the next one.